Welcome, I am 𝐸𝐬𝐸 and your host for Keep Traveling, Your African Vacation, the only podcast which brings you insightful information in the African tourism industry by real tourism professionals. Today we have another great episode to bring you, and I have the pleasure of introducing Daniel Zents, who's General Manager at Savute Elephant Lodge. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thanks, 𝐸𝐬𝐸. I really appreciate you having me. Yeah, excited to tell the story and bring some highlights to this beautiful part of Cevuti and 𝐶𝐵𝐵.
Excellent. So let's kick off with whereabouts exactly is your property located?
Yeah, so Savute Elephant Lodge is located in the heart of the 𝐶𝐵𝐵 National Park, specifically the Cevuti region. 𝐶𝐵𝐵 National Park being oldest national park in Botswana, technically in the northern parts of Botswana. So you've got the delta to the southwest. From that it goes into Savute and the 𝐶𝐵𝐵, which eventually leads to 𝐾𝐚𝐢𝐿 and Vic Falls.
Okay, now how did you end up in the tourism business, Daniel? Was this always the plan?
No, funnily enough, after high school I was at a crossroads. It was either medicine, hospitality, or playing for the Sharks. And playing for the Sharks, if I got injured, that's not a big career, and I'd end up with a marketing diploma. Going into medicine was at least 8 to 10 years of study, which I didn't really want to do. And hospitality, I loved the opportunity to travel. My old man did a brief stint at a hotel in the Middle East, and getting to experience that from a young age, it was always at the back of my mind, the different characters you get to meet, the ability to travel. So that's where it started. And fortunately, I got the opportunity to do a bit of an internship at a hospital and then at the Ritz before choosing. And it was the Ritz all the way. And that eventually got me down into studying tourism, which took me from Europe to Asia, and then eventually found myself in the bush.
Listen, I'm not that familiar with 𝐶𝐵𝐵 National Park, but there's definitely worse places to live. Tell me, what makes your property different from the other properties around you?
What's quite unique is that we're the only 5-star lodge in the area. The way we approach it is a minimal impact in terms of game drives. So that means smaller vehicles. We're not trying to huddle 10 people on a cruiser. We try to limit it to 4, at most 6, unless it's a group. We've got the only spa in the area, and one of the few, surprisingly, one of the first and one of the few lodges in Botswana that have air-conditioned tents. We've got the luxury in the summers to keep things cool, and like last week when it was quite cold in the morning, I think we hit 3 degrees, it kept things warm. And then fantastic food, and ultimately part of a brand which is Belmont, which has a global footprint. Easy connections through to the Mount Nelson in Cape Town.
So you're going to be running the show one day, Daniel. You're going to be running Belmont.
Who knows? I think for now I've got a massive passion for the bush. It actually was only supposed to be a 3-month stint, and now it's 10 years later that I've been in the bush. As much as I might want to go into corporate, being out this part of the world is pretty special.
Tell me, what do guests normally rave about after they've spent a couple of days with you?
The Savute Elephant Lodge is called Savute Elephant Lodge for a reason. We've got prolific elephant concentrations, both around the lodge and within the region. We've got probably one of the highest densities of elephants in Botswana, if not the world. And so amazing viewing, not only on drive, but straight from the rooms. We've got 3 primary watering holes that feed these elephant populations. Currently, which is our dry months, you easily see 100, 200 different elephants come through in an afternoon. So guests love it. What also makes it unique from an experiential point of view is the fact that we really try and tap into where we are in a sense of place and showcasing cultures. Everything we do within the lodge is how do we tell the story of Africa, but also of Botswana and its people. All of our crockery, everything that we've got in the experience of dining and in the rooms is made within Botswana. It's a really unique insight for our guests to experience, and that's why they come here, right? And so our bar is 90% African and about 30% from Botswana. Our food infuses local flavors but also elevates it, and we create different dining experience. Guests, when they leave, they truly feel that they experienced and learned something being here. Animals is one thing, learning from your guide, but actually from a cultural aspect and the interactions with their staff is probably one of the big draw cards that guests really, really do appreciate.
Okay, and leading on from that, how do you make guests feel at home, especially ones that have traveled from across the planet to get to you?
A few things. One of the new touch points we've added in the last few months is at the airstrip itself. We do a little bar and snack setup for the guests just to take it all in, and so it's always nice to have a welcoming face with a fresh towel, a nice drink, a gin and tonic to take the nerves off if necessary, otherwise a refreshing smoothie, a little snack, and that's their first intro. Then when they get through to the lodge, we've got all the staff waiting, singing a beautiful song in Setswana that ends with "Welcome to Savute Elephant Lodge." What we enforce is that we know every guest's name, so every staff member in and around the lodge will know who they are and welcoming them into the family. Welcome to Savute, I'm this person. And essentially there's different touch points throughout the guest experience where we've got little notes in the rooms from the housekeeper saying, "Hi, my name is Toto. I'm your housekeeper. I'm here to look after you. Write them little letters. From the dining experience, creating a personalization of, so you enjoyed this, or do you want to try this? I'd love to take you on this journey to my favorite spot by the Hyde. I'll set up lunch for you so you can watch elephants throughout your meal. I think a big thing that I've tried with the team is they need to imagine how their mother looks after them when they go to visit her. And that's how they should look after our guests. And that's been a big focus point.
Tell me, Daniel, I'm sure you've had many experiences, but tell me one of the most rewarding experiences that you've had with a guest.
One of the most rewarding experiences I've personally had with a guest. There's quite a few, although, you know what, if I can think of one, and I guess this is a personal one that comes to mind, is an amazing interaction I had with a family, probably in my second month of working in the bush. We created an amazing connection. I hosted a little mixology session with them and ended up doing a little sundowner stop for them on their last night in the Kruger National Park. And it was an amazing experience. We had an amazing connection. We shared details as you normally do, but you never really follow up on it. Probably within 4 months, I had them email me and say, we had such an amazing experience. We're bringing back our kids. Following year, they brought back their kids, and similar experience, just working with them, creating an amazing connection. And essentially every year since, they brought a bigger and bigger family, up until the point that the last time they essentially booked out the lodge. I was in the same location for some time, and I've obviously now moved in the last year to Belmont. And what's amazing is that they're still in contact and they still want to come visit. And I think it's an amazing experience, and I couldn't have done it myself. It's how you do it with your team and things like that. But it's a rewarding experience personally, because we've created this continuation and this relationship.
You have created a really good friendship amongst those people, and I can imagine that it must be very rewarding personally. Daniel, besides the actual views and the wildlife, what do you love about being in that area?
What do I love about being in the Savute area? Wildlife is obviously a big thing. It's hard to ignore wildlife. But for me, what I specifically enjoy about being in Savute is the nature. There's a cave and a rocky outcrop, and it's one of the few in Botswana. Botswana is a very flat country, and so we're very fortunate that we've got, I call them rocky outcrops, because anything compared to the Cape or any other parts of the world, this is just a little pimple, because one of the hills is called Pimple Hill. It's a little dot, but this is one of the few areas where there is these points of elevation. And one of these rocky outcrops actually have Bushman paintings. And so there's an incredible history and legacy. And as I've spent now all 4 seasons in this part of the world, to see the transition between the green season to the dry season, to see what the ancient Bushmen would have lived through and understood, and why a lot of the names that they have for these points of interest is based around water, and currently there isn't. It's a history lesson. I love history. I love coming here because you've got amazing game viewing, but there's also so much more. There's an area in the northeast, about 20 minutes from the lodge, where it looks like the earth is literally just opened up, and you've got at least about 10 to 14 baobabs over 1,000 years old each that have just sprouted. And just to sit and to take it all in is magical. For me, that's what makes this place so special, is that yes, you almost guaranteed amazing game viewing every time, and that's why Savute means the place of mystery. Because it's a magical place that is barren at times and doesn't make sense, but the animals are prolific. But then you've got history, you've got nature that just thrives. And as someone who's been in the bush for quite some time now, there's a beautiful balance between it.
What comes to mind when you mention the baobabs is I've traveled a lot myself down the Zambezi escarpment from the Harare side, from Morangora. I don't know if you know the area, but from the top of the escarpment, you look across the valley and you just see all these little mushrooms, which are obviously the baobabs. I can relate to that really well, so thank you for sharing. Are there any traditions, foods or events that guests always fall in love with?
I think, what quintessential safari is the Boma dinner, and we've really tried to turn it into something that has a prevalence. And so we've got a traditional beer called 𝐲𝐸𝐿, almost like Mqombothi, but we've got these beautiful pafanas or calabashes made by a local artisan out of clay. We use that to welcome the guest in and to taste it, which is a traditional etiquette. And those that aren't the biggest fan of it, our chefs have been very creative and created an ice cream out of it. So you've got that option to enjoy. So we really try and infuse, because sometimes it can be a bit foreign to our foreign guests, one of them being the Mopani worms. And so we always try and give them that traditional flavor, but then how do we elevate it and make it maybe a bit more I wouldn't say palatable, because I personally think 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐸𝐶 is delicious, but for those that aren't used to these flavors or textures, how can they do it? Our Boma night is quite a unique dining experience that I get fall in love with. But my personal favorite, and especially at this time of the year where the weather's amazing, is dining in our hide. Beautiful photographic hide that's underneath the lodge, overlooking one of the predominant watering holes. And everything from breakfast, lunch to dinners is just spectacular. You're eating a beautiful meal and you've got an interaction between a porcupine and an elephant. It's always quite fun to see and live through with the guests in terms of this is their first time experiencing something like that.
The Boma dinner sounds really amazing, and I've had the sales and marketing manager from Victoria Falls Safari Lodge, and their Boma dinner is really quite famous throughout the tourism business. So if you guys are coming in a good close second, I'm sure you're going to be renowned for that too. 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐸𝐶, listen, I don't know if this is the same 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐸𝐶 that maybe when I was a teen I tried back in Zimbabwe. I think I'd rather go for the ice cream too.
I'd recommend the ice cream.
I know it's difficult to answer this one, but I always like to try and bring out the best of the best. Can you tell me someone from your staff or community that really makes a big difference?
I mean, my team truly is incredible, and it's been amazing to see someone that's recently really made a big difference is our recently appointed HOD for the service team, for the waiters, for the butlers. Her name is 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐸𝐶, and she's got a wacky sense of humor. Her energy is palpable, and the way that she pushes the team for excellence, the way that she creates relationship with the guests to the point that I try to give the guests a hug. They don't care. They want 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐸𝐶 and they want to pack her in their luggage and take her with. She's unbelievable. She's anticipatory. She tries to find out exactly how she can take it one step further, whether it's quickly realizing that they drank a Coke or a type of cocktail, learning that cocktail, making like a mini care package in their rooms. It's amazing to see what she does. Her leadership role is a due reward for it, and I think she's starting to inspire the team as well, which is really cool. I'm very fond of 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐸𝐶 and how she's grown in the last little while and how she makes incredible connections.
Maybe in the future we'll get her on the show as well one day, maybe. Let's see how things go, because she seems like she has that energy, so it'll be lovely to talk to some other parts of your team as well. Daniel, what are your hopes for the future of Savute Elephant Lodge?
My hopes for Savute Elephant Lodge is just to bring attention to this beautiful, amazing country. Botswana, amazing country, amazing people. And Botswana is always associated with the Delta. But Savute truly is magical. It's got an incredible legacy, incredible history, incredible people, and incredible game viewing. And I think my hope for Savute Elephant Lodge is that in the future, when people want a destination, the destination isn't necessarily Botswana. The destination is Savute Elephant Lodge. Why? Because it's authentic in the sense that you get to know each staff member, each individual. You create a relationship, that the food, the drink experience that is offered is rooted in who these individuals are that are conducted it, and in terms of the area that we operate in. I want guests to feel that they get to experience the purity of safari. Because I think currently, a lot of people look to the hotels for inspiration, which is great, but there's a uniqueness in safari. And you can add a lot of layers in terms of like amazing vibrating or massaging beds and things like that. But, you don't want to lose the authenticity that it should be, that safari was originally. That out of Africa feel. When you were a kid and you imagined safari, you didn't imagine the spa or these type of things. You felt like you were immersed in nature, that you felt that you had authentic interactions with people. And that's what we want to create. And we'll have the little luxuries because we are a 5-star lodge, but when you leave, what you take away is how you felt and how people made you feel and how the experience made you feel. That's the dream for Savute, is that you walk away for the better.
So in saying that and following on from that, if a guest could take away one particular feeling after staying with you, what would you want that to be?
It's an interesting word to try and put into a specific feeling. I think I'm going to be a bit abstract and say grounded, but not to say the whole kumbaya and the whole wellness thing. Grounded in the sense that you've been able to break away. You're in the middle of nowhere. You've disconnected and connected with people. You've connected with nature. You've looked an elephant in the eyes and realized just how big it is. In that realization, you realize how small your problems are, right? You leave refreshed, you leave grounded, you leave invigorated. The beauty of safari and the beauty of Africa is that it always warrants a return. When am I coming back?
Sure, I get that. And in saying that, there are people from, let's say, the Northern Hemisphere that are still a little bit nervous about traveling to Africa for the first time. What would you want to say to those people?
Don't be nervous. Africa is medicine for the soul. And if it's a safety concern or logistics concern, I think it's a lot more advanced than people realize. I've had moments in the Northern Hemisphere where I felt a lot more unsafe than I had down south. What I can say is specifically for Botswana is it's an incredibly stable country. It's incredibly beautiful people. You need to come and experience it. And we can take care of everything.
Getting towards the end of our chat, where can people find you online and follow your story?
I mean, me personally, I always say I've got a face for radio. I'm not very active on social media. So, my LinkedIn, I do post and promote. We've got an awesome Instagram and social media team. Find us on Instagram and Facebook under Savute Elephant Lodge. We are part of a bigger group called Belmont, and Belmont's got a footprint globally. And not only do they do safaris, they do boats, they do trains, as well as hotels. Our philosophy as a group is really to tap into slow luxury and the authenticity and purity of these experiences. You can follow the main page, which is Belmont, which can be found on everything from YouTube to Facebook to Instagram. We've got an amazing campaign at the moment called Long Shots, where we've had videographers come to the different properties and film 2 to 3 minute snippets in and around these properties. And we've just finished recording at Cevuti and our sister property, 𝐸𝐸. So it's an amazing video to put up on the screen while you're cooking. It's 2 hours and you get little aspects and viewpoints in and around the lodge and part of the experience, which is out on safari. Yeah, I definitely recommend following these pages because there's some amazing videos that are about to come out.
That sounds awesome. And I know that you and the group have been generous in offering a prize giveaway. Would you, in your own words, tell us what you're going to be giving away to a lucky listener of the podcast?
Yes, of course. I'd be happy to give away 2 nights at Savute Elephant Lodge. It would be an honor, just to showcase how amazing this part of the world is. Not just the lodge, and not toot my own horn, but just how magical Savute and the surroundings of 𝐸𝐿𝐴 National Park are.
Thank you very much, Daniel. That's very kind of you. And I know that if guests aren't coming to see you, they're going to be coming to look out for 𝐸𝐿𝐴. I think she's going to be a bigger draw card. But thank you very much. I really appreciated your time today and learning about Savute Elephant Lodge. Wishing you all the best in the future. Thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Rael. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I get to welcome you this side. The more people that know how special Savute is, the better.
I hope so. Thank you. That was Daniel Zents from Savute Elephant Lodge in Botswana. Do not forget that fantastic prize giveaway. All the entry details can be found in the show notes of this episode, or head over to www.wildsunsets.travel/podcast. Tune in again next week when I'll be chatting to another great African tourism professional. My name is 𝐸𝐿𝐴, and consider this. A few years from now, you will not remember how much it cost you, but you will still remember the memories you made. Keep traveling.